What's up folks, Jang here from UltimateRC.com, unboxing the Thunder Tiger ER-4 G3 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive rally car. Or at least they call it 1/8 scale. As we'll see once this box gets opened up, it is not 1/8 scale, it's bigger than 1/8 scale. But they call it a 1/8 scale because it's based on a 1/8 scale buggy chassis. Again, as we'll see once we get this thing out of the box. Speaking of which, let's get this thing out of the box. I already cut the factory seals on this thing because I needed to verify something. Information about this thing in advance while I was testing out some other stuff. But let's see what we have here. Just a bunch of paperwork and an antenna tube. I really don't care about that. It's not exciting for purposes of the unboxing. So this is what we see in there right now. I'm assuming this is zip tied down to this piece of cardboard here. I've got another box over here, and there's another box next to that. This is the tool set. Well, it's got a tool set in there and some optional hinge pin blocks for changing toe and kick up, I'm assuming. And it also has a series adapter for putting two 2S packs together. That's all that's in this box. Let's see what's in the next one. I think I know what this is going to be. And yeah, there we go. Takes care of that. This is some sort of warning label, which I am going to discard without reading. That's the controller, which looks really familiar. It's the same Cougar 2.4 gigahertz controller that came with the monster truck, the MT4 G3, and well, that is what it is. You know, it's a controller, and it has steering dual rate. That's good. Otherwise, it's pretty basic. And then we've got another box insert in here, which I'm just going to take that out off camera. Ta-da! Car. It's a car. Yeah, it's much bigger than 8th scale for sure. If you actually look at the dimensions for it and compare them to the Mini Countryman WRC that this was based on, I believe that was a car that had factory support from BMW, and I think they lost that support already. There's still some out there for privateers, but unfortunately, by the time this thing came out, it was already kind of outdated as far as the body shell is concerned. But its width is almost 1/6 scale, but the length and the wheelbase are both in the slightly smaller than 1/7 scale. I think a little bit bigger than 1/8 scale range. So it depends on which dimension that you want to look at, but not the most scale looking body from what's out there, but it's mostly a factor of the dimensions of the chassis that they use. This is a standard size chassis, standard 1/8 scale buggy size. It's been used, or that size has been used for a lot of rally conversions and rally cars, so nothing out of the ordinary there. Comes obviously fully painted and with lots and lots of decals applied. It's definitely a lot of labor to get all that on there. So since they did all that labor, I will just render it pointless by taking the whole thing off and not looking at it again until the end of the video. There we go. Ooh, this wing here, the lower wing, is super flimsy. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna reposition the camera, and you will see that this is a familiar sight. If you're familiar with any of the 1/8 scale offerings from Thunder Tiger, starting from the ST1 and the EB4, I guess, like I said, the monster truck, they're all based on the same basic chassis with just slightly different configurations to change the width and the total amount of travel on the shocks based on which type of vehicle that they're using at a given time. So a basic 1/8 scale chassis layout, they've got these locks that'll allow you to open up the top of the chassis, which really isn't it's not much structure right there. This is going to hold the battery in, and that's about it. Here you can see the more conventional stuff. So motor over here, big old 40 millimeter diameter, looks like a 74 millimeter long motor with Mod 1 gearing on it. This ESC is the it's rebranded Hobbywing ESC, and this one in particular is looks like it says 80. Yeah, this is an 80 amp one. It's hard to tell from the outside without actually seeing the label that's down there, but they make one that's 80 amp, one that's 150 amp. So this is the 80 amp one, which is supposed to be only 4S capable compared to the 150, which is 6S capable. Tiny little receiver down over here. It does have a center diff pre-installed. What else we got going on here? All metal drivetrain. Wait, is that metal? Nope, plastic spur. That's good. That'll keep the noise down a little bit. Looks like it's got dog bones in the rear, unlike the monster truck, but it has CV joints in the front. This, I keep seeing this and it keeps bugging me. There's a lot of play right here in this upper arm, the upper wishbone. And look like there's even more over here. I think the whole thing is just moving back and forth. The pillow balls look to be just right. I'm not able to move them. I mean, they've got a little bit of play, but that's fine. But this thing going back and forth, I'm not so happy about that. But adjustable suspension, you can. It's got droop screws in it. I can see them at the front. I can see them at the rear. You can adjust that. I showed you briefly earlier that they do have different suspension pin holder blocks, which should give you some tuning options there. You can change your camber because they use pillow ball suspension. You can change your front toe, your steering alignment. They've also got two Ackerman adjustment options here. You've got two options for lower shock mounts, and it looks like three options for upper mounts, although they're not going to really change your progressiveness all that much, but it's something. And at the rear, looks like a similar situation as far as adjustability is concerned. No sway bars on this vehicle, interestingly enough, but that does not bother me at all because it's already such a low chassis. The weight is going to be down low, and for a rally car, there should be some chassis roll. There should be some body roll, unless it's strictly set up purely for tarmac use, which this one, it has a slight lean towards tarmac use. There's not a whole lot of droop, but there's a lot more than it needs for on-road use. So this is kind of a hybrid setup out of the box. The shocks have plastic bodies, plastic caps. They are big bore though. They are not threaded. They have these preload clips that they use on there. Feels pretty decent, maybe a tiny bit under dampened for street use, but it feels like a decent all-around setup. Similar to the monster truck, they have put a lot of rake in it, a lot of forward rake, which you can adjust by just taking out some preload clips. You have to put the battery in first to see just where that's going to settle, but I would probably remove a little bit of that preload from the rear to get it to sit a little bit more level. A little bit of rake is okay with a soft suspension. It's going to make the whole vehicle stay more level when it's under acceleration, under power, and also help keep the rear of the chassis from hitting the ground and then flipping the whole thing forward, which would tend to cause, when that happens, it tends to cause what most people mistakenly refer to as a nose-heavy attitude. It's actually has nothing to do with the weight distribution. It's just the suspension setup. These tires, it's a medium compound. It's not too hard. It's not too bad. So these should be pretty decent for on-road use, I'd say. And we'll just have to see how well the tread works out for a little bit of sliding around in the dirt and on gravel and such. On gravel, it's definitely not going to soak up a lot of the imperfections, a lot of the bumps. I would have preferred a softer sidewall, especially softer shoulders, because those are the hardest points on here. Thinner rubber on the sides would have been a really nice thing for that. But also these tend to collapse in the middle, so I'm having a feeling that they're going to wear on the edges less than in the middle, unless you're at full speed all the time where it's going to be ballooning slightly. And these shock towers are also plastic, right? Yeah, they're molded. FRP plastic. Again, really doesn't worry me. We'll have to see how well that they stand up, but they're not going to be getting a whole lot of force on them. I think the rear, if anything, the rear would be the one to worry about, just because, well, see, again, this takes care of that. If the body mount plate was really rigid, then that could send force directly from rollovers onto the shock tower, and if it's not strong enough, that could snap. But you've got all this flexibility here, so that's going to take a lot of shock and just kind of move it around. So again, I'm not concerned about durability with this thing at all. It's most of the parts are 8th scale duty. I said duty, and yeah, this definitely should be able to hold up to pretty much anything that I could reasonably throw at it. Big old bumper in the front, foam. Looks like it's pretty well supported. Yeah, these posts come down pretty close to the corners, so that should hold it in pretty well. Not sure what this thing is right here, but impact is definitely covered. Let's see what's going on with the bottom of the chassis. Yep, they do again use that little cover on the bottom, which sticks down I don't know, what is that, 3/16 of an inch or something like that? Sticks down pretty far, which, I don't know, I think they should try to work on something a little bit better than that, because you know, if you're running over gravel a lot, I would expect that to get chewed up over time. But we'll have to see how well that works out. There is a bit of a plastic tub around the chassis. It does have an aluminum main chassis front to back, but this upper part is a tub, so that could collect some rocks and stuff in there. A little bit of concern about rocks getting down into the spur and into that little cup that they put underneath it. If stuff stays in there, it could actually get stuck. It would be better to just let it roll on out. But again, we'll just have to see how that all works out. They've got it set up with one Dean's plug right now, but as I showed you, they've got an adapter with a jumper that will allow you to use two 2S packs. If you've got those packs that have the 4mm bullet connections in them, or terminals in them, you can just plug those right in, or otherwise you just make your own. If you just have a single 4S pack, you're good to go. But again, the max on this is 4S, not 6S, like it would be with the identical looking but better spec'd 150 amp unit. But anyway, for now, I'm just going to put this back on. The antenna tube would go through there, lock these guys down, and get this ready for some studio shots to go in my review video. And then once I get that, I'll be happy to get this thing on the road and start putting out some raw driving videos, and then follow up with, of course, the final review once my testing is done. And when will that be done? The answer is always the same. It'll be done when it's done, which will be after I've thoroughly tested the thing. And when will that be done? It'll be done when it's done. That's it for this one. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You know, no real surprises with this. It's a big car body on an 8th scale buggy chassis with lower shock towers and a big front bumper. That's pretty much it. You know, just a straightforward 8th scale buggy to hybrid on-road conversion, so to speak. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to watch for the upcoming running videos. I'll show just raw stuff so you can see exactly how this thing behaves, and you can compare that to raw running videos of other rally cars that I've already tested or will test in the future. Talk to you again soon.